Welcome to the Miami Lakes Business Podcast, brought to you by the Miami Lakes Chamber of Commerce. Today we have a real good friend with us, someone that I have known for a number of years, a local grown individual. Mr. Lorenzo Cobiella. Welcome, Lorenzo.
Thank you for having me, Fred.
Lorencito, as I call you at
That's
times,
fine.
you know.
A lot of people do.
Lorenzo Cobiella is part of the firm of Gastesi Lopez Mestre, which is a local law firm. But he's also the deputy town attorney. And we happen to, to deal at times with different things. I sit on the zoning and planning board, and you are the one that keeps us legal all the time. So welcome, Lorenzo.
Thank you very much,
podcast.
Fred. I'm very excited to be here.
So why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about you, how, where you came from, where you study, that type of thing.
Sure. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I am a homegrown boy. I've grown up mostly in this area, in Hialeah and Miami Lakes. I attended Our Lady of the Lakes School. I went to Pace High School. I did my undergraduate studies in finance at FIU. And then when it came time to study law, I chose Barry University, and I wanted to continue a Catholic type education and study law, and so I went there. I did about a year and a half too, and then I finished up my studies at FIU at my alma mater. I always, from the very beginning when I started practicing law, kind of interesting. My path is I've always enjoyed government and I've always enjoyed public service. I started out working for Congresswoman Ross Leighton soon after, actually during my last year of law school, and then thereafter.
Great Congresswoman.
She was wonderful. She is a wonderful human being. And so I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to, this is going to be my path, and this is what I'm going to do. But, God had other plans for me. My daughter was going to be born, and so I decided, well, I'll just focus on law, and I took the bar exam, and in 2009, started practicing as an attorney, and did so in the field of guardianships and probates, and also helping out with a group called SALAD, Spanish American League Against Discrimination, doing a little work with them also. And as things kind of, God leads you, and so I was able to come back to my roots here in Miami Lakes and start out in 2012 with a gentleman, Robbie Elias. Started with his firm. I ran for office once. I lost. This happened in 2013. And thereafter, I kind of segued and opened up my own law firm, Cobiella Law Firm, and became of counsel to Mr. Raul Gastesi. And so that's where my history with my current firm begins. I did work with him. The opportunity came to assist him with the town of Miami Lakes. I did so very excitingly, because now I was back doing kind of what I wanted to do, which was work in government and in the public sector. And since then, the relationship continued to grow. In 2019, Mr. Gastesi joined forces with Mr. Raul Lopez and Mr. Cesar Mestre, who had also been a council member and a mayor and a vice mayor of the town, and formed Gastesi Lopez and Mestre, and they invited me to be a partner also in the firm. The firm is great. It's wonderful to be able to practice and serve in the same community where I've grown up, and so to me it's an honor, and it's a wonderful thing that I'm able to do. Wake up in the morning and just do what I love and I want to do, and it doesn't feel like you're working a day.
So tell me, Lorenzo, what does a deputy town attorney does? Why the government needs an attorney present? I know you're here all the time. Most of your time is spent here in town, in the town.
So that's a great question. Mr. Gastesi, Raul Gastesi, is the town attorney. He was selected as a town attorney in 2013, and he has twice had contracts and agreements where the scope of services have grown. The city's grown. I mean, in 2013 to 2023, it's amazing how many more buildings have grown, how many more businesses have come into town, how much the population has grown during that period of time. And so at one point, this town wanted someone to be here and physically present in the town. And so that's why I'm the deputy. I'm his deputy, and I'm here president. And so my job is really to be kind of a guide and a sounding board. Many of the things that go before the different departments are things that maybe would happen in the private sector, but because there is government involved, because there are public monies, people's monies that they're entrusting their local officials with, there is heightened vigilance, and the law requires for that. And so you just can't go out there and buy, a box of pens to be for the town. No, things have to be procured and they have to be done in a certain way. And I'm kind of minimalizing it because, yes, there's certain things that, sure, you can go out there and purchase, but there's others you can't. What are those? For instance, when you go outside and you notice that the folks that are cutting the grass and cutting the trees, well, there is a tree trimming service. There are landscape contracts, and those contracts are done so in a public way. I mean, they're allow for people to bid on them. People bid on them. Those contracts are reviewed. They have to have certain components to them that just a regular contract with someone in the private sector just might not have. And in your experience too, there's many different boards. For instance, the board that you sit on, planning and zoning. We could have conversations about that. Just a podcast, wow. I think, on planning and zoning. The importance of the town to make sure that the code is adhered to, and that's how there's uniformity in the town, and that's why the property values in the town maintain themselves the way they do, thanks to the service of people like you that are committed, that are reviewing these variances and these requests to make sure that they conform, that they're needed, because we just don't want people doing whatever they want. Not because people don't have rights, of course they do, but we live in a community that is very conscious about its the way it's perceived, its values, and we want that uniformity.
Yeah. And it's good for the people to understand and to know that the people that work here and the staff or the politicians that are, the council members and whatever, they can't do whatever they want. I mean, it has to be within the guidelines, and that's where you come in. Mm-hmm. You come in to make sure that the guidelines of the state, of the federal or local mm-hmm. Offices are followed to the T, to make sure that we keep the town out of trouble.
Yes. And that's interesting you say that. Because people, when they view the town attorney, they're, well, yeah, you represent the council, or you represent the manager, or you represent the staff, or you represent the people. And all those answers are true and all those answers are not true, because really my role is to represent the town. And the town is the entity that is built up of administration, the staff, the people, and the elected officials as well. And so I serve all of them at the same time. And that's sometimes a complicated role because each of those components have their own way of viewing their role in the town and what the town is supposed to be.
Their own interest.
Well, I'm not sure that it's, yes, their own interest, obviously.
At times,
absolutely. Sure. People, we'd like to think that everyone acts always altruistically, but no, everybody has their own interests, their own desires, right? And that's being a human being. And they're not always the same. Sometimes they could be a little bit in conflict. And so my job is not to really give an opinion one way or the other, or say one thing is wrong, one thing is not, but just basically say this is what the law is and this is how the law applies to this situation. And be that transparent with all of them. And when I say all of them, it's whether I'm dealing with the public, whether I'm dealing with boards such as yourself, whether I'm dealing with the elected officials, or whether I'm dealing with staff.
Mm-hmm. How many committees do you kind of not oversee, but keep in line within the legal guidelines here in town right now?
So every committee and every board in the town have to adhere to just a couple of simple rules. One of them is Chapter 286, which is called Government in Sunshine, which means that members of a board cannot talk about a subject that's going to come before them outside of the public view. If they're going to talk about, an event, the Veterans Day Parade that's coming shortly, I'm very excited about that. It's coming on Sunday.
Yeah.
I know you're very involved in that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can talk about that and what you're going to do, but you got to do that in a public meeting where everybody can hear what you're talking about, can see where those public funds are going to be spent and how they're going to be spent. And it's difficult, no? Because we're all a big happy family. The town of Miami Lakes is one of those communities everyone knows each other, no, and we see each other at Publix and we can have conversations. But just because you see one of your friends that's on the let's say Veterans Committee, you just can't have a conversation. And so part of my role is educating them on those legal nuances that are so important because they do protect not only yourselves, but they also protect the people. Again, this is all about a government that is for the people and is there to serve the people's needs. And so the people have a right to understand what is going on at all times and have that be transparent. So that's my role in most committees and most boards. And of course, we have certain rules of decorum, and it's my job just to kind of educate them in how to use those rules to be productive and to be able to achieve whatever goal that committee wants to achieve. There's others that are a little bit more complicated, like the one that you serve on, the Planning and Zoning Board, because that one is a quasi-judicial. So the decisions that you make as a planning and zoning official have ramifications where the person who is applying can be personally or financially affected. And so there's due process rights that person we have to preserve. And if not, that person can appeal and we may have to represent that person in that appeal. So
one of the things in the beginning of the program that you were talking about yourself and when you went to school, you omitted the part that you graduated from Pace High School.
I did. I graduated from Pace High School.
Pace High School. My son graduated with you, my son Fernando.
He did. I remember Fernie.
So, and it's good to know for the people that local, grown talent goes to the school, here. They don't have to go all the way down south or all the way north. They can stay within in our patio, as we call it.
Absolutely.
And still be successful. And I know that you are a lector at Our Lady of the Lakes on Saturday night mass, because that's the mass that I go to when I'm here, when I'm not in the Keys.
Yeah.
So I've seen you there a few times. So
Yes.
it's good to see you there.
Yeah, I think it's important. We have a beautiful community, and I think it's important for myself, and I think it's important for everyone that's a Miami Laker to get involved. I mean, that's how we're able to give back. As in our own, not only in our own profession, but just as human beings. And Our Lady Lakes is part of my community. I also help out. There's a beautiful and large community of folks that are parents of autistic children. That there's a great need here in the town too.
God, yes.
And so I know that the town is very very focused on providing services and they have their own committees dedicated to people with special needs. And we also have local individuals here in the community. One of them that's very involved here, Marinela Alvarez and Vivian Levy, and they try to see how they can serve that community. And that's a beautiful thing about Miami Lakes. Nobody is really, I think, needs are left unheard or unseen. There's always something, and the elected officials and the staff and individuals that live in this town are always trying to see what else can we do to serve our community. And that's one of the things I love about this town.
Yeah, I think that the community involvement at large is so important. And like you say, to give back to the community, it's not just taking and taking and taking. You need to give back to them, and that's the way that you do it, by getting involved.
Yes.
I know that some people don't like to get involved because they don't think they have the time. But there's always time. There's always time and everybody has something to offer.
Yes.
We don't try to maintain that we know everything, and so it's very, very good, and it's a great thing that you are the type of person that you are. So,
thank you.
We'd love for you to be here. It's the first time that we get a government from the local government actually in our podcast.
Okay.
Today we did one with Senator Rene Garcia,
right.
but yours is different because you're right from the town.
Yes.
The town of Miami Lakes.
And we have wonderful staff members, Fred. I mean, the staff here is phenomenal. from our elected officials to the town manager, Mr. Peterman and Mr. Lopez, to all the directors and everybody that works here. Everybody they care about this town, and it shows.
It does. It does. And I've always heard that this is the type of town that you can get things accomplished, which is different from other cities or towns that are maybe so big that the red tape is too much. The layers of management, if you will, are so many that it's very hard to get anything accomplished.
That's true.
But here in town is different, and that's why we love Miami Lakes.
That's why I heart Miami Lakes.
There you go. So Lorenzo, if anybody would like to talk to you in your firm,
sure,
on your private sector, how do they? Where you guys are located?
So we are located right close to the Winn-Dixie Shopping Plaza in Royal Oaks on Northwest 155th Street. They can contact myself or any of our partners. We have a webpage, thanks to a phenomenal young man that did our webpage, Matthew Casamayor, and his father, Tigo Casamayor.
Oh, wow.
They did a great webpage for us. It's at www.glmlegal.com, and they can call us also at 305-818-9993, 305-818-9993.
Well, thank you, Lorenzo. It's been a pleasure having you, and thanks for saying yes to come to our podcast.
Thank you for the invitation, Fred. It was a pleasure.
You're welcome. And for our viewers, until next time.